This interview was recorded at FarCon NYC on May 2nd, 2025 with Cassie Heart from Farcaster and Quilibrium and Rish from Neynar. FarCon is Farcaster's annual event organized by the community for innovators, builders, and network contributors. A pre-interview with Cassie and GM Farcaster precedes the main stage talk. Thank you to all the sponsors who made this conversation possible, including media partner GM Farcaster, media sponsor NounStyle, and all the FarCon team of volunteers. Learn more at farcon.nyc.
So, GM Farcaster, we are back with Cassie, and Cassie is going to be doing something a little fun, a little different for the next segment at FarCon. You want to talk about how this all came about? And just hold this a little bit close to you.
Yeah, sure. So we're doing Hot Ones, not officially sponsored by First We Feast. So yeah, we're going to have Rish on, and I'm going to torture him with some very spicy wings and hopefully some spicy questions.
And we're going to be down there getting questions from the audience. Do you have any things you want us to seed in the audience?
I'm not sure.
Okay.
We can plant questions.
Yeah, you want us to plant anything? Let us know. We take bribes too. But I also wanted, while you were here, to talk about Quilibrium and where you're at with that. That's really why I wanted to roll you up real quick. So what, in terms of Quilibrium, can you tell really quick, I know it's hard to summarize, but just like really quick, what is it for those who may not know? And then like where are you at in terms of the journey? Because you just had like a big moment, and I just want to kind of like give that some love.
Yeah, so we're going through what is the version 2.1 upgrade right now. I'm not going to like deep dive into what it's doing, but basically we're going through that upgrade process, and what that's going to unlock is like general application support. So Quilibrium in a nutshell is kind of like Amazon Web Services, but decentralized. So you can think of it like any other crypto L1, but instead of doing things like smart contracts, it's just generic applications. So it's easy to lift and shift what you've built on like Amazon and bring it over onto Q.
Fantastic. And how many, you're running it like Q hubs, correct? Like are there nodes? Sorry, nodes is the word I was looking for. Nodes is the word I was looking for. How many nodes are running? Like how many people do you have active in Quilibrium right now?
Yeah, it's been pretty wild. It's like we've had a purely grassroots movement. So like we don't have any VCs that have like fueled anything. There was no airdrops or anything like that. So it was just pure like fair launch. And at our peak, we had over 200,000 independent nodes that were running. And after the version 2.0 upgrade, people started consolidating their sets of nodes into clusters, and it shrank down to a much smaller number because they wanted to concentrate their rewards under one node. Where that's going to end up after this 2.1 upgrade is complete, don't know.
Okay. Adrian? Do you have some questions?
Can someone run a node with like their home PC?
Yeah, that was actually one of the core.
Asking for a friend, are you?
Can someone run a node with their Windows 10 PC? That's
So we actually do not have Windows supported right now. It's technically possible, but it's
Linux?
just
Can I run it on WSL?
Yeah, I was gonna say like that is the trick people have been using is using WSL. It's still kind of a pain. One of the things after 2.1 is fully out there is getting things into as streamlined a way as possible to run a node. So, you can think of it as installing any other application and you just launch it as like a little desktop app that just wraps the entire node application. But right now it's a bit more involved.
Yeah,
awesome.
I'd imagine.
I
wasn't asking for myself. But no, I was just curious of like the types of people. Are they hobbyists? Are they...
It's
like all
over the place. Yeah. We have people who have like gone as far as to rent out entire data centers, and they're running Q nodes across their entire fleet. We've got plenty of like home enthusiasts that have like a fleet of Raspberry Pis, people who have like just a few servers that they're hosting somewhere. It's just all over the place.
Is it a lot of Farcaster users who have launched nodes, or is it completely different community?
So that's one of the beautiful things about Farcaster is that's where I started talking about it very broadly, and that's where the first generation of node runners came from. Since then, there's been a huge influx from a couple of other communities. One in particular is the BitTensor community.
Really?
There's like a small faction of people over there that jumped over to start running Q nodes about a year ago.
Oh, cool. Very cool. All right, we're going to let you get ready.
Okay.
Get your palette ready. I don't even know. Like, is there a prep? Is there like a workout you do before this sort of hot ones
What's
thing?
your
I don't know.
tolerance for spice?
Yeah, that's a good question.
So the hottest sauce in the Hot Ones collection is 2.6 million Scoville units. For reference, pepper spray is about 2 million. And that's actually the sauce that I use like
On a daily basis?
Yeah,
Like a regular.
yeah.
Oh,
So
Rish is dead.
Spray my food with pepper spray.
I mean, I actually
but it's
did
not
use.
strong enough.
I did used to buy the Mad Dog Plutonium sauce, which is 9 million Scoville units. It's like the
Oh.
last type of sauce you can get before
My
it turns
God.
into just pure crystals.
Do you have
And-
taste buds?
Okay, so I have a
like
palate of a 5-year-old. It's like, so I don't put pepper. Pepper's too much for me.
Black pepper.
Black pepper, I don't.
Same.
It's a little too much for me. So
My
that's where I'm
husband's
at.
the same way.
That's where I'm at.
Yeah.
So this is like very foreign to me,
this is
but
exciting.
I'm gonna enjoy watching it.
I hope we will all enjoy watching it.
I
But
think it's gonna be fun.
Well, obviously, like if you've never seen Hot Ones before, you can tap out. So if
Rish can tap out. It won't be
if he
you.
needs to.
If you've ever met men, they can't tap out. Rish will not tap out.
Will not tap out. I'm really excited. I'm excited for this. I think it was a great format for FarCon, and good luck. Thanks
And maybe
for,
odds
thanks for
be ever in our favor.
the odds gonna be in favor. Oh, hold on. That was the other thing I was going to say to you. By the way, the Hunger Games. Just for those who don't know, there was the way that we were testing, that you guys were testing, Farcaster was testing group chats.
Yep.
Was this use of the Hunger Games, and it was essentially like voting people out of the group chat, and that is what inspired me to start Cast Out.
Oh, really?
Yes. That, like, I'm a huge Survivor, like, fan forever. But I was like, hey, this would be fun to do something like this at a bigger scale on Farcaster. And that's what inspired it. So thank you for the inspiration.
I just want
I almost
chaos.
forgot. I just want chaos. If I'm going to test things, I want chaos in the process.
It's the only way you'll know if it works.
This is true. All right. Well, thanks so much. And it looks like hopefully we'll be ready shortly for Hot Ones.
Yeah.
All right.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to this rendition of Hot Ones. For those who have not seen Hot Ones on YouTube, the First We See series is a show where the wings are hot and the questions are hotter. The idea for today is we're going to do it a little bit differently. We're going to split it up into two segments. The first segment is going to be just an interview, get to know Rish, and then the second half is going to be audience Q&A. So I hope y'all have some spicy questions yourself. But without further ado, let's get started. Rish, tell us about Neynar.
Yeah, Neynar is a developer platform company for Farcaster. We started 2 years ago. We started with hosted hubs. 2 years ago, which was 2 FarCons ago in 2023, I actually presented a different product, also called Neynar, which was an NFT media app. And we built a lot of underlying infrastructure for it, which was based on Farcaster Rails. And that underlying infrastructure got more popular than the app itself. And so we became an infrastructure-first company. And we've been doing Farcaster infrastructure for almost 2 years now.
That's amazing. I feel like, especially 2 years ago, that would be like Farcaster's infancy. You know, what led you to take the leap on Farcaster like that?
Yeah, Mun and I were building this app, and it had some sparks. A few people were using it. A few people liked it, but it never really got to the point where we could see it getting a hockey stick growth. And that's like pretty necessary for consumer-focused products that are not necessarily built on top of a protocol like Warpcast is. And we were kind of trying to think about what to do next. And we had been pretty excited about decentralized social even for years before, which is why we had joined Farcaster early on, like Mana and I joined in 2021. And we had been using it ever since. And we knew we wanted to keep building on Farcaster for a while, simply because we were interested in the space. And once the infrastructure started getting some demand, one thing I thought to myself is, one thing that founders have is sort of a risk arbitrage. Like, what do you think is low risk that the rest of the market thinks is high risk? We didn't necessarily think that Farcaster was low risk, but compared to the rest of the market, I think we did think it was a good risk to take. And I like taking good risks. And so Mana and I decided to do this full time and see where it goes. And so here we are, yeah. And we've been enjoying it, and we continue to build on it.
Well, we're very thankful for you taking the risk on Farcaster. And speaking of taking risks, let's go ahead and get started. Looks like these are not chicken wings, but chicken tenders. So, Emma, I'm not sure what the order is here.
I think it says 1, 2, 2, yeah.
Oh, they're labeled. Okay, okay.
So start there.
All right, all right. Okay, that could have been like a instant emergency. All right.
Yeah.
Not sure which ones these are. I think this is the standard Los Calientes. How are you feeling so far?
That one's not bad.
What's your spice tolerance like?
Average South Asian man spice tolerance. But I've not been in India for 16 years now. So it's been reducing considerably. So when I go home, visit my parents, what my mom cooks is spicy for me. So I think by the time we get to the end, it's going to be, some suffering is going to be on stage.
Speaking of spice levels, who would you say is the spiciest Farcaster?
There's some spicy Farcasters. I think Jeff Goldberg likes to be spicy. Which is not a bad thing. I mean, social networks do well with spice, so yeah.
Fair enough, fair enough. Who would you say is the least spicy Farcaster?
At some point, I would have considered myself not as spicy, but I think people got really animated with the user scores. So maybe that's not. I think Manan's pretty not spicy, or like some people on my team. Everybody on my team is like super engineering, like soft-spoken. So yeah, I think our team is pretty not spicy. So if you follow like Manan, Ty, Val, or V Rose, Flash Profits, non-spicy hardcore engineering people, yeah.
Makes sense. Let's go ahead and upgrade to sauce number 2. Not sure which ones these are. I wish we had the bottles.
Yeah.
I'm waiting for the magic moment. So one of the things that I've seen you mention before is that you got into crypto pretty early in comparison to most people. What was the thing that originally got you hooked?
Yeah, I think so the very first time I was introduced to crypto, this was like 2012. And I'm sad to say I didn't fully get it. And I kind of, played around with Bitcoin a little bit, and it went from $100 to $1,000 in that 2013 run. And kind of had a few beers, moved on, forgot about it. And when I really started getting it is when Ethereum came about in the 2015, 2016 period. And the whole concept of this like world computer like the first few times I went through it, it kind of felt like, okay, I can kind of imagine how to upgrade the internet. And I can't fully explain even what that meant to me at the time, but I remember thinking that, like, this can be the next version of the internet. And that's when I started diving deeper. I looked at jobs at Coinbase in the 2016, 2017 time, but again, sadly, didn't do anything about it. It was at Facebook. But by the time that bull market died in 2018, the market was dying, but I was still pretty into everything that was happening in crypto. And so I was like, okay, I have to leave. I have to go work somewhere that is fully into this stuff. And that's when I left Facebook, moved to Coinbase, joined Coinbase in 2019, I think. And since then, have been working full time here.
It's awesome. I feel like, like the first coin that somebody gets into tends to shape their like perception. Since you got in so early, at the very least, you had like initial exposure to Bitcoin. Is there anything that you feel about like the Bitcoin community that is either lacking or something that you wish would be in the Ethereum community, or vice versa?
Honestly, I'm not super close to the Bitcoin community. I got into the money part of it, which is like, and it took some time for Bitcoin to find how it defined itself. Where it went from like, oh, this is about payments to this is about digital gold. And I kind of buy the digital gold thing if it remains decentralized, and it kind of works that way. And so I got into the money part of it, but I didn't really get into the political part of it or become part of all the discussions that we're having. Ethereum, I got into it more, where I got familiar with the EIPs, I got familiar with like how people talk about Ethereum culture, or in today's market, changing Ethereum culture and evolving it and all of that. I think like Ethereum, obviously, as many might be familiar today, could do better at like moving the political process in a way that was faster, and evolution happened faster, and innovation happened faster, and all of that. And obviously the feedback's been heard and they're working on it. But there was definitely a time where the cultural aspect of it would push away certain kinds of innovation on the chain. And that didn't work out well over the last few years. And, yeah.
I feel like that's fair. Let's go ahead and turn up the heat to number 3. I wish you luck.
That's spicy.
Now, for those who haven't seen First We Feast's Hot Ones, I just want to mention you do have the ability to tap out if you need to. We also have what appears to be a milkshake, I think.
It's likely going to be needed on the next one.
Okay. So I guess like the last thing that I've got as far as questions go before we open up into looking at the time here because the monitor's not before we go into the audience questions section. Out of all the things that you wish could change about Farcaster, the protocol, versus like, Workcast or any of the client implementations, what would you like to change the most?
At the protocol level?
Right.
Like from a wish list standpoint, I think it would be nice to try, like, I guess context before the answer is that I say this with a point of view of experimentation. I don't really know if any of the changes I'm about to talk about are actually good changes to make. But from a wish list standpoint, I think it'd be interesting to think about how new kinds of actions could be taken on the protocol. Like by definition, it's a very narrow protocol, and I think that's part of what makes it interesting and allows it to scale. I think social networks over time have come up with new kinds of social actions. So we have gone from like a Facebook post on a wall to like ephemeral Snapchat to like disappearing Instagram stories and so on. And I think today the protocol is pretty narrow in terms of the kind of social actions you can take. Everything is public by default. I know DCs will hopefully get decentralized over time and whatnot. But I think it would be interesting to expand the set of protocol actions you can take, and even maybe financialize in some ways where you can have Turing completeness, or not completeness, but some subsection of Turing completeness that would allow you to like build interesting applications on top. I don't necessarily think that that would have been a good way to start. So I think the way it started out is still good, and I think over time, expanding in that direction would be useful.
That makes a lot of sense. I would like to know, though, like if you could see any kind of like Turing complete or quasi-Turing complete, like Bitcoin script style, no loops or whatever.
Right.
What type of application do you think would thrive in that kind of environment?
Yeah, I mean, a few of the mini apps we were seeing today, and that, like what I'm about to say is maybe a good counterexample of why we don't need it or didn't need to start with it. But things like AMPs or tip and earn, where you take an action on the protocol, some centralized service reads that action, goes and talks to a blockchain and says, okay, they want to recast your cast, we are going to charge them, or you're going to pay them X number of dollars, and then we'll come back and send out that recast. Today, if you take back that recast, the money's still gone, and you have to like do the refund separately. Same for tip and earn, where I forget what that mini app is exactly called, like Tippin or something, where you like and a small number of dollars or cents flow out of your worklet to the other person. And obviously, this is all doable without the kind of stuff I'm talking about. But it would be cool if the protocol allowed that level of completeness, where you could take both financial actions and social actions at the same time, make it atomic, and then see what builds on top of that.
Fair enough. I do have to call out real quick. Like I was gonna ask the question on whether or not you were a wallet or warplet person, but you did kind of show your hand there.
I mean, I think it's a funny name. I don't necessarily have in a certain camp. I think when the name came out, I thought it was kind of weird. But you know, the weird things can be funny over time, and I think it's, for me at least, it's changed to a nice, funny name, and it's cool.
All right, so we'll go ahead and go into sauce number 4, and then yeah, we'll do the audience questions.
Oh, this is milkshake time.
Thanks, Will.
We've been told there's like several more sauces that we can go hotter than this.
Yeah, do you want a few more sauces to go even hotter?
I guess we could try a 6.
Okay. All right. Bring it.
Do you want to
bring
jump
it.
from 5 to 6?
No, we should do 5.
I know
And
for
then we
sure
should
that
do 6.
Cassie's never going to say
I don't think we
no.
should jump. That's a whole different situation.
All right, who's got a spicy question? Keep them appropriate for the room. And tell us who you are, too, on Farcaster.
Hi, I'm Brian. Sign up for Unlonely.
I didn't say shill. I just said tell us who you are on Farcaster.
Sorry, I really want this to be successful. Anyway, Rish, yeah, so everybody's talking about DeFi right now, about tokens. So I wonder is like, when is the Neynar token?
Don't have a token. I think it's like, I just haven't spent enough time on tokenomics to really think about what a token would do in our ecosystem.
What would the token do? The common question from DWR.
Yeah, and you know, maybe somebody can tell us what it should do and we can consider it, but I haven't spent the time thinking about it. At some point we might. Till at least 4 months ago, there was no reason to spend time thinking about it, because as soon as you launch a token in a US environment, pre-2025, it wasn't a good outcome anyway. Maybe there is some reason to suggest that we should think about it now, but haven't thought about it, don't know what it would do, and thus there is no Neynar token. Should go up. Would be nice, yeah.
Do we have somebody over here? All right. Gran, how am I going to get to you? We'll go this way.
Yeah, we can do it.
I got him.
I got him? All right. She got him.
Got it.
You got one? I'll come to you next.
Hey guys. So Warpcast team versus Neynar team in a tug-of-war match. Who wins?
Same number of people because their team
Yeah,
is
same number. You could pick 5-on-5, let's say.
Oh, we're going to win.
Oh, yeah. Cassie, you agree?
Probably.
All right, we got a question here.
Have you played or used Debbie's Never Have I Ever
Yes.
mini app?
Yes.
Okay. Which question did you answer, and how did you answer?
I did not answer a question on it. I browsed through it to look at what other people have answered. But because that's not an answer to a question, you can ask me a never have I ever question if you want.
Okay, so mine, I posted one yesterday morning when I got into your and my. Hold on, should have left that in here. Sorry. Yeah, my name is Oddjob, by the way. But the question that I asked yesterday was, have you ever had sex in public? Spicy questions, right? I mean, we're all adults here, right?
You didn't say appropriate, but okay. Is Stephanie here? Is Stephanie in the room? Would she like to answer the question?
My interpretation of your question would have to say no.
We got one back. Okay, we got one back there.
All right, if you could change one thing about your co-founder, what would you change?
Oh, this is good.
Sorry, what was that? One thing about my profile?
Co-founder.
Oh, co-founder. Oh man, no, he's my co-founder because I like him the way he is. I can tell you what is annoying, but I wouldn't change it. When things happen, I think my emotional state is more restless than Manan's emotional state, which is a good thing in the company because somebody has to worry and somebody also has to not worry. If both people are not worried, then you're going to miss out on stuff. And if both people are worried, then you're just kind of, too paranoid. But it's kind of annoying to have to be the person who's worried while he gets to be the non-worried kind. There have been times where there was something and I was up worried about it and he was just asleep. There's no point in two people being awake and losing sleep, so it's good for the company. But yeah, it's annoying to be the one who has to do the worrying. But I wouldn't change it. I think it's good.
Rish, we have time for a spice break.
Yeah, let's go ahead and go into
while we get the next
5.
question.
I believe that is Fat Cat Gourmet. That's 54,000 Scovilles.
That's it?
It's 54,000 Scoville.
Yeah, that's pretty spicy.
This one has the Trinidad scorpion pepper, so it will be a creeping heat.
Love it.
All right, cool. So Rish, Manan, Varun, and Dan are on a plane. The plane crashes, and they give the keys to Cassie. Cassie, who do you put in charge of Merkel? And Rish, since you're up there, who do you give the keys to?
Sorry, I'm still processing this.
Okay, we'll give you a second.
Something about the keys?
You have to pass the keys of Neynar to one of your current employees if you and Manan were to no longer be. Who do you hand the keys to? And then Cassie, same for you.
Do you want to answer, or do you want to let the heat sit for a second?
Who do we hand our keys to?
What's your succession plan?
What kind of keys? I think if Manan and I died in a plane crash, the person who stands up and says, I'm going to lead the company is the CEO.
Okay.
No, I mean, I'm dead. So leaders the way you lead is you stand up and you say, hey, I'm leading. That's it. So whoever does that is the leader. Could be you.
If I had to actually choose somebody explicitly, I would probably pick Shane because out of all the people who takes on-call pages, I think Shane, wherever you are, I'm sorry for all the times I've caused you pages. Okay, so we've got 5 minutes left. Do you want to go through all 3 of these in rapid succession?
I'm happy to try the next one since I'm still alive.
The next one?
Yeah, like number 6.
Number 6,
Yeah.
okay. That would... Okay. All right, so number 6 is Onima, and this one is 71,000 Scoville units. So we're still in the 5 digits here. See if I can actually crack this open.
By the way, the correct answer to the least spicy Farcaster is Burtwurst, period.
That's true, yeah.
It was an easy question.
Should wait for them to eat.
All right.
Watching people eat on stage is really strange. I think there's a reason the Hot Ones crew doesn't have an audience.
They get more opportunities for like the dramatic cuts, the sweating, all of that.
I think like I've lost pain sensitivity.
We can up it to the bomb.
Is this one of the sleeper ones that hits like a couple minutes later, or is it supposed to? It will definitely hit tomorrow, that I can tell.
Honestly, no, I would agree with you. That one actually does feel a little bit more mild than the fifth one. The bomb, on the other hand, is about twice as hot.
Sure.
All right. While I crack this open, are there any other spicy questions?
You got a question
Yeah.
over here.
Hi, JD. Rish, Neynar is, arguably Neynar's success rides with the protocol's success. What do you think Neynar is doing, isn't doing, could be doing to improve the sort of top of funnel, right? If you grant the premise that in order for somebody to benefit from Neynar's existence, they have to get on the protocol first.
Yeah.
Today, 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10 people are getting on the protocol thanks to the work that Merkle is doing.
Yeah.
How do you all improve that?
Yeah, great question. It's something we should actually do more. I mean, clear example today is, I don't know how many of you guys use the Blackbird app to get food. Companies like ours can actually talk to companies like Blackbird or other companies that are obviously crypto native. They are at FarCon, but their app doesn't have a Farcaster integration. When you go to Blackbird and look up a restaurant, you don't know what your Farcaster friends have said. You don't know who from your Farcaster network has checked into what restaurant. And I'm just using Blackbird as an example because it's top of mind. They're here. It's not to pick on them. But companies like Neynar can do more to, and we should, this is, again, a good question, we should go talk to companies like Blackbird and other companies in the area, and we can help them onboard onto Farcaster. Will get easier as Snapchain reduces user onboarding costs, where we can actually bear the cost of user onboarding and just charge people normal compute units to use our APIs. And so I think we'll start doing more of that and get other applications to onboard net new users to the protocol that aren't coming necessarily through Warpcast, and that'll improve top of funnel. Yeah.
All right. I'm going to try to, oh, dear Lord. All right, you ready?
Yeah. Well, that's spicy.
It also
We may
builds,
need
too.
to have somebody step up sooner than we thought. Instead of the plane crash, it might just be this last wing.
I mean, you made it to the bomb. Do you want to go all the way?
Sure.
All right, folks.
Hey. So you're talking about how you're the worrier out of you and Manan, like you're more of the worry personality. What was the most worried you've been in Neynar's history? After you guys pivoted from the client, like since the current iteration of Neynar, like obviously there's been ups and downs with like morale on Farcaster and like growth and stuff. What was like the most worried that you've been since starting?
So there's two kinds of fears. One is in the moment kind, which in the grand scheme of things doesn't really matter. And the one is the existential kind, which doesn't necessarily like wake you up from sleep, but it prevents you from sleeping if you haven't already fallen asleep. The wake you up from sleep kind of worry happens anytime there's a spike on the protocol. Like a lot of users coming in for frames or degen and servers are crashing, people are calling us, and like we were getting 3 hours of sleep a night. It was a stressful time, but also an exciting time. And I would take that any day. The kind of worry that doesn't let you sleep is the worst kind, where you stay up thinking, is this going to work? And are we building the right thing? And are we focused on the right, are we going to, like, there's a famous saying that companies die by suicide, not homicide. Are we going to die by suicide? And that keeps me up every night. And I don't know if there's a specific day that I've been more worried than others. It kind of comes in like those sine curve waves where, weeks, some days you are exuberant and things are happening, you're shipping a lot of good stuff. And the other days you are like, wow, we have to figure this out. And you just have to live with it. And you have to like focus on what you're doing and keep building and then see what happens.
Oh, wow. Okay. So I'll leave this one up to you because this is a very dramatic jump. The last stab experience is 2.693 million Scoville units. And the peppers up is, I'm not even seeing it. Oh, it's the High River. Okay. This one's 700,000.
Yeah, let's do 700,000.
Okay, fair enough.
Hi everyone, I'm Rev. I was curious, Rish, so what is some unintuitively hard lesson you learned as a builder/founder that looking back was absolutely not obvious that you really needed these lessons?
I think like for me personally, I don't know if these are lessons learned while the course of Neynar, but some things I have learned over the course of life generally that I put into practice is just patience and focus. Like long-term thinking and long-term building doesn't just happen. You have to like continuously work at it. And things usually don't, like even what looks like an overnight success, there's like a decade of work that precedes that overnight success. Like ChatGPT went to 100 million users in like, I don't know, a couple months, but they like worked on ChatGPT for like 5 years before then. And people, when they build a ChatGPT graph, they show the Instagram, WhatsApp ChatGPT graph, and it's like 4 months. But they just discount the 5 years of work that went into like building the models. And so, just like keeping that long-term mindset, and Manan's really good at this, again, which is why like different talents in the company really matter. Just like having patience, focusing, and building for the long term. Not necessarily lessons learned over building Neynar, but I think over my work at Facebook and Coinbase and now at Neynar, I think have helped getting us to where we are today.
Hey, You hear me? Okay.
Yep.
This is for Cassie or Rish. What was the most annoying piece of content you've seen on the feed, and who was responsible for it?
I'm still thinking you should go.
Okay. I think the most annoying thing that happened was probably about a year and a half ago, I think. Unlike the individual here who claims to be Brian, the actual Brian posted a interesting photo. For those who are familiar with the name Barry Wood, you'll know exactly what I mean. That probably would be it.
Do I also have to answer it, or is that good? I don't know. I don't have a very specific memory of something being annoying. I think, I found the category of spam that originated when channels became really popular, where people would just take a picture of the internet, put it on the channel feed, that to be pretty annoying. But I don't think that's the kind of answer you're looking for, so I'm trying to think about a specific person or instance. Yeah, I can't, I'm sure there were, I just can't remember one. Sorry.
Okay. Yep, and then we got one more after you, right behind you to Garrett, and then we have to wrap. Or can we do,
Should we try to?
Yeah, I was about to say, let's go ahead and do the
This one?
We'll call this the last dab.
Okay, so I'm the dude on webcast, and I was first to Cassie and then to Rish. How are you feeling after, what differences do you feel from first when you stepped on stage and now in terms of, spiciness level, physically?
I definitely feel hotter. I mean, it would be nice if it was like that, but just temperature hotter and my mouth's kind of on fire, you know.
I don't know, man. I feel alive.
Nice.
The last dab experience, I actually use this with my breakfast. So
this is why I was scared this morning. I was talking to Cassie, and she's like, "Oh, I just use this as my breakfast sauce," and I'm like, "Why am I? I'm just being set up."
My nose runs, my eyes a little watery, but I don't know, that's awesome. I like that.
Okay.
Hi, I'm Garrett. Besides Bitcoin or stable coins, you have to buy a token today and hold it for a year. What is it?
Where? Oh, yeah. I was like, who is? Yeah, okay. Sorry, Bitcoin or what?
You can't buy Bitcoin or stable coins, but you have to buy a token and hold it for a year today. What token is it?
Yeah, I mean, Ethereum, Solana.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably both. That's what my portfolio is mostly Bitcoin, Ethereum, some Solana, and stablecoin. Yeah.
Cassie?
I'll take it under advisement from my counsel that I should not answer that question.
Fred told you not to worry about lawyers anymore.
You always have to worry about lawyers. From a lawyer.
Hey. Oh, can you hear me?
All right. You ready for the last dab?
I'm not sure I'm ready, but...
let them do it. Yeah, that last one. Yep.
Yeah, this one is the High River Peppers Up. It's got brown sugar in it.
That's why I eat hot sauce for the sugar. That one's actually, it's pretty bad, but my expectations were so bad, it's better than my expectations.
We could still do the last dab.
I tried.
All right, I think we have room for one more question, right?
Yeah. Hey. Hi guys. Yeah, so Sheldon on Farcaster. So kind of ending on a good way. What are currently the best mini apps that you guys like? What are the top one? And then also, which is something that you wish you saw? What's something that you want to be built in the next year or so?
There's actually a lot of new mini apps I've liked. Mini app experiences are getting pretty smooth. There was this video TikTok feed mini app. I forget exactly what it's called. Dab. And the experience was like way slicker than what I expected going in, because web apps stutter, and like it's not a fault of the developer. That's just what web development looks like. Like TikTok stutters on web. But the video feed was just so smooth. It really blew past my expectations. That was good. I think everybody's in love with Tiago's "Where Are You At" mini app during the conference. Find your friends. The Never Have I Ever app that you talked about, I like that. Yeah, there's probably more. I'll have to look through I add a lot of mini apps simply because I try a lot of them out. But there's some good ones that I've added. So in terms of what I would like to see built, I would actually, I don't know how many of you have played, but I recently, YouTube has had this feature for the last few months, and I'd been ignoring it for a while, but I had this some time over the last few weeks where there's a carousel of mini games that you can play inside YouTube. And they have a couple, bunch of cool games. One of them is a parking lot game where you have to park cars and solve puzzles to get cars out of a parking lot. Soccer game where you have to shoot goals. And I think those kind of super one-shot experience mini games would do pretty well as a mini app. You come in, you unlike YouTube here, you can have a leaderboard of your friends, see how much your friends have scored, who is playing right now, challenge people to different tournaments, and do that while browsing your feed. And I would play them. I played them inside YouTube where none of my friends are, and I still enjoyed it. So on a social network, I think it'd be even more fun. Atlas. Yeah.
Cool. All right.
How far did you make it? What number?
We're about to go to the last dab.
Okay.
That is 2.693 million Scoville units.
Yeah.
Now, listen, you can back out if you don't.
No, I mean, we are here, so.
All right. Right, I'm going to ask you the question before I take a bite in case I inhale this and then die. But you got 100 people or so watching right now. What is one message you want to tell to all of them?
Do not eat what I just ate.
All right, well, thanks for joining me in this.
Thanks, guys.
You are an absolute champion.
Thanks for doing this.